So yeah, my name's Ellie or Eleanor, and I train in multidimensional healing, and I felt like I just really wanted to do this session today to introduce people to what this is and how it can help us, like in our everyday life, really. Because I always think. We're all healers, really, in one way or another. And the things that we learn by doing energy healing training and learning about our own energy and others and seeing things from like a wider perspective can really support us in all areas of our lives. So I just wanted to share some of those things with you today that might be supportive to you, just get you thinking about some things and how you can use them in your day-to-day life, and just let you know about my training too. And I'm doing this today because I'm going to start doing more online training. So that's why I thought it'd be good to do YouTube. And I'm using YouTube today just because I've got this new thing on my website that lets me do these webinars and then send you the replay and stuff. So yeah, if technically it's a bit weird, that's why. So I'll do like a meditation just to bring us all together in a minute, but I'll just wait to see if anyone else is coming. So I'll just introduce myself first. So my background is in nursing. So I've been a nurse for like 20 years now, but I'm no longer a nurse and I just work as an energy healer now. So prior to nursing, I trained in Reiki and reflexology. And then after leaving nursing, I've come back to those two things again. And I definitely feel that, my work in energy healing did really support me in lots of ways as a nurse. But eventually, obviously, it became a little bit hard to be within the healthcare system, seeing things the way I did. But it definitely helped me to see how I was relating to people, how I was draining my energy and how to protect myself in those sorts of environments. And that's partly why I'm passionate about sharing these tools and techniques with lots of people. So I'm also, when I first left nursing, because working on the wards, a lot of my patients really inspired me to take a new approach to my own health. And I saw lots of people listening to their bodies and going on these healing journeys. And I noticed like this light in them when they had kind of taken their power back. But I also saw in many people that it was very difficult to take their power back and listen to their own bodies and go on this healing journey. And when I saw it was really difficult for them, I got very frustrated. But they also inspired me to go on this journey myself. And then I listened to my own body, saw what it was telling me, found out I was in lots of unhealthy patterns, and I started my own healing journey then, and realised obviously that these people were so amazing. They'd had to go through a lot of darkness to find that light that I saw in them. And I then went on my own journey to go deeper into all my patterns and find out who I was at the end of the day, as they did. And as part of this journey, one of the things I did was train as a health creation mentor. And that was with my teacher, Rosie, who was also a doctor who had seen in her patients in the hospital those who took a really holistic approach and looked at all their health from all the levels of like mind, body, spirit, and environment, what a difference that made to their recovery. And also this light that she saw within them as well, really being their sort of life force, that by looking at all these different areas, they kind of rekindled their life force, and that's what they found again. And many of the people she worked with, and the same that I've seen as well, almost by going through illness and it forcing them to look at all these different areas of their life, they were almost grateful for the illness after. And so she, like I did, put this program together to help people to look at all these different areas before getting ill, without needing illness as an excuse, to go on this journey of healing, and to kind of work with your life force energy as a force of healing that's always there for you. Whether you're in crisis or not, we always have this option to strengthen our life force energy. And I think that's what I was seeing in these people, was this light that I saw in them, was this life force. And like our natural state, I believe, is to be full of life force energy. And when we're talking about being a healer and using healing, I don't know how many people think of it, but I used to think of it as, putting your hands on someone and almost draining your own energy and healing in that way. But actually what we're doing when we're learning energy healing is developing this life force, this connection with life force flowing through us, and strengthen that within ourselves, allowing it to flow. And that's the way we're supporting others, through letting this force, source, life force just flow through us. So we're strengthening this light within ourselves. But obviously, even in this world of healing, there are, sometimes if you're not looking after yourself and you're not working with this as your life force in connection to source, then even then you can be kind of draining your own energy. So the type of energy healing that I teach is all about empowerment, and sort of having your cup full, not draining your energy to support others, but being full of life force yourself, so that you can then sort of support others, just by shining that light, really. So that was nursing and health creation mentoring, and I've done lots of work with women's health and hormones, because I also believe that hormone health is really connected to our life force energy, it's all related. Everything's all related, isn't it? That's a bit about me and my background, and why I wanted to teach this subject. So let's just, before I tell you more about today and what the things I'm going to share with you, let's just take a moment to just come into our centre. And there's some people who've messaged and said they can't come tonight, but hopefully I'll be able to send you the replay. So we just want to include everyone who's signed up to receive whatever they need from this session tonight. So if we just start by just maybe placing your hands on your heart, closing down your eyes if you'd like to, and just taking some nice, slow, deep breaths. And just feeling the support of the earth beneath you, whether you're sitting on the ground or with your feet on the ground. And as you're breathing, with every breath, just allow your body to relax a little bit deeper. And almost just allow the earth to hold you a little bit more. And as you do, just allowing the rest of your body to relax a little bit deeper with every exhale. And just calling all parts of yourself here. So just to take this uninterrupted time. And just now breathing into your heart center. Just allowing the breath to come in and out of your heart almost. And just allowing the breath to slow even more as you're breathing in and out of your heart. And as you focus on your heart center, just allow yourself to think of something that brings you a feeling of joy, something that you're grateful for, or something or someone that you really love. And as you just keep your eyes closed, maybe bring your attention inward to your heart and just really focus on that feeling, even if it's something just really, really simple. Just see if you can take your attention to the feeling of it in your heart center. And then just allowing that feeling to slowly expand. And imagine it moving out throughout your whole body into each of the cells. Just imagining all the cells within the body just beginning to light up with this feeling that you're cultivated from your heart center. Until it begins to fill up your entire body. And then see if you could imagine it moving outwards from your body into the field of energy around you, and almost just bring your attention and this feeling, just noticing that area around you, filling up now with this feeling of joy or love or gratitude that you've cultivated within your heart. See it surrounding you in all directions, almost like this light of an egg-shaped light all around you. This light permeating out in all directions. And just allowing yourself to be in this space now. And just affirming again that anyone that's here watching this session on the replay just receives everything that they need. And we just invite all that's in alignment with the unified field of love into this space. And then you can just open your eyes. And you can just stay nice and relaxed. And I'm just going to share a little bit about with you what I feel it means to be a healer, and how probably we're all using energy healing in one way or another, whether we realise it or not, throughout the day and throughout our lives, and see how we can kind of support ourselves while we're doing this. I think we are all healers in one way or another. And if we think about it, when we go out into our day, we're interacting with people and situations and places throughout our day. And if we think about the fact that we're our physical body, but we're also our energy field, and we're continually interacting with all those things around us, then we're going to be affecting others with every interaction, and we're also going to be affected by others with every interaction. So maybe just start by thinking about your day to day, and just take a few moments thinking about, from the moment that you woke up this morning, how many people you've had contact with today. Whether that's like speaking to someone on the phone, or even like the postman or postwoman coming to the door. If you have got family, or if you have been out at work, or even if you've just been walking down the street or been to the shops, just thinking back over your day of all the different people that you've come into contact with. And even animals or children, and we can think of that in a positive way, and how many people that we have the potential to influence over the course of a day, and then how many people they'll come into contact with then. And we can see that as our circle of influence. And we can see probably, if we start thinking about it, even if we haven't really done much or been out of the house, we've had some sort of interaction or communion with a number of people, and they've probably gone then and seen others. So if we've brought joy to that interaction, then that's going to be passed on, and we can see it kind of rippling out into the world. And so in that way, we're kind of, we're sharing our energy and we're influencing people, whether we're doing like hands-on healing or not. And we can also think of it in that how many people have influenced us today, and how many times have we been around different people, whether that's actual interactions or whether we've watched something, or even if we've just seen like a social media post or something. How many times have we been influenced by others' energy throughout the course of the day? And it's interesting to think about it, even just one day, to kind of bring more awareness to each of these interactions, big or small, and to notice how we feel, because sometimes it's easy to feel sort of drained after certain interactions, or maybe there's certain people that might make us feel more drained, we'll notice, or sometimes even if we do look at social media, we don't realize how much things can affect us, but we might have looked through, like just scrolled through like 10 posts maybe, and they're all like different people, emotions, views and everything, and how that can kind of drain us very easily, just in a really simple way. But also then if we think about, if we've seen somebody that seems distressed or hurting, we might be able to feel that and get that feeling of, oh, I really want to help them or make them feel better, even if there's nothing that you can do. You have that kind of feeling that you want to go and support them. And in that way, we're kind of giving our attention to that. And then, of course, we're giving our energy to that too. So it's like, we can also, as well as doing the circle of influence, we can also think of like our energy audit throughout the day, and how our energy field can be influenced by so many things. And it doesn't need to be even as obvious as that, but where have we put our attention as well over the course of the day? Because where we put our attention, our energy then goes. So if we've been, maybe there's someone we haven't actually been in contact with today, but they're really annoying us, and so we're thinking about them a lot. We're thinking about how much they annoy us, and that can make us feel drained. Or likewise, there might be someone that we're just really worried about, and we're thinking about them a lot, and we're giving our energy to them because we're giving our attention to them. Often we're sort of thinking in things in terms of the 3D and the physical self, but when we kind of expand to think more about our energy field, we realize how much, it can be affected by all of the things around us. And so some of the practices we learn when we're doing energy healing, to kind of regularly audit our own energy and bring our attention back to ourselves, can be really supportive. And often, obviously, we're not going to limit, well, we might limit our interactions if we realise we're getting very drained. But sometimes I think it's just about awareness and kind of auditing our energy, and simple practices that we can do, like thinking about where our attention and our energy has gone, bringing that into our awareness, and then being able to call it back to us as well. And things like that sound really simple, but they can be really powerful practices. And I definitely noticed, when I was working in the hospital, because I left and did further energy healing training and then went back into the hospital, and the difference before and after was really noticeable. In that, before I when I look back on myself, I could see how much I was like really wanting to help everyone, and my attention and my focus was everywhere, and I was like I just got so burnt out. When I went back, I was more able to see, wow, my energy is everywhere, and learning to call it back, still be able to support people. Because the thing is, we can support people better when we're recharged ourselves. When we're depleted and we're burnt out and we're trying to fix everybody, then we're actually not going to end up helping anybody. And that's what I always notice, like, us nurses, I'm speaking for myself, are so often the most unhealthy people trying to bring health and healing to people. So it's difficult, isn't it? So it's about just assessing things like that, and bringing it back to ourselves and learning how to manage these things. Yeah, that's one really simple practice. Just calling your energy back to yourself every night when you go to bed. I call my energy back from all people, places, timelines, dimensions, and just imagining and setting that intention, and noticing as well situations that leave you feeling drained or tired. So that's one thing that we always cover, to be able to, it's about noticing our life force as well, and knowing when that's depleted, and when it's positive. It's all about, that's the first precept, I guess, is about remembering our life force energy as our own greatest source of healing as well. And if we think about it, when I was talking about like being burnt out and depleted, or having a strong life force and being able to help those around you, I often think about like our natural state is the light that I was talking about seeing in people. That's our natural state, I do believe. Just letting our energy flow and shining out to the world. But lots of things in life disconnect us. So when you see like a newborn baby, or a little newborn animal or something, they feel that beautiful feeling, don't they? And it's almost that it's lovely to be around them. I don't know if, for me, I feel it is. And it's the same with maybe a tree, for example. If I'm not feeling great, I'll go and stand by a tree and feel that life force energy, and it feels really beautiful and healing. But the tree's not doing anything. The tree's not saying, "Oh, I'm going to fix you and heal you and make you better," and draining its energy. It's just literally standing there. It doesn't have distractions and things like social media. It's just in its energy like that, and it feels really beautiful. And that's what I believe it's about, being a healer. And in the Moonlight Key, that I forgot to mention the Moonlight Key at the beginning, but that's something that's really influenced my training as well. But the Moonlight Key are these shamanic teachings from the Inca, and they talk about what it means to be a healer, and how the shaman's greatest goal is to become the hollow bone. So just to heal anything within them that's preventing them to be a clear channel for source, so that all they need to do is be near people, and they can source energy is flowing through them, and that in itself is healing to those around you. yeah, and that's the same with a thing as like, yeah, standing by a tree, or that feeling when you see someone who's like radiant and light, and it makes you feel better just to be around them. Yeah, that's that feeling of the life force energy flowing. And obviously, yeah, not being around you, knowing to keep that flow, so that you can support others without it draining it. And when we're connected, like we're plugged into source frequency and source energies flowing through us, that way we're not going to drain ourselves when we're offering this to others. We're just gonna, it's gonna be topped up within us, and that we're always gonna feel, well, we're not always gonna feel good, but we're gonna feel that energy is there. It's not like we're depleting ourselves, and we're topped up. So it's all about letting, yeah, life force energy flow through us. And obviously, there are loads of ways to top up our life force, and there's loads of things in life that will deplete our life force. So when when I'm supporting people with healing and this training now, I kind of want to link this all together. So not just having an achievement, like clearing the channel for life force energy to flow and sending people off, but allowing us to work with the things in our own life that are, can keep this connection strong and secure, so we feel really alive ourselves and topped up ourselves. So that's part of what I'm going to be teaching. And the way I do this is I always think, we've got all the wisdom we need in our body, like this is our natural way. And lots of the different practices and cultures that I've learned about, it was all about like working with our chakra system and the energy centers within our body, like working with those within us to bring about balance, and then that working towards our whole energy field being radiant and full of light. And so I think often the map is within us already. So often as we work with the chakra system, which is an age-old map that we see in many different cultures and traditions, if we work with each of these, then we can, and we continually work with them, then we're keeping our life force topped up. And also by working within our bodies and supporting ourselves, we're allowing ourselves to hold more light, because I think the world's going through, as we know, lots of big changes at the moment, and we're all, like, the earth's evolving, we're evolving, and so practices that really support our physical body and our emotional body, our mental body, to be able to sort of keep up with this, be able to hold more light, and to be also really solid and strong and grounded as we're going through these changes, is going to be really important. So what we work with, and I'll guide us in a minute through like a little journey just to go through those different centres and how we can work with anything within them just to keep bringing about balance. And it's a continual journey, and it's good, I feel, to have tools to keep coming back again and again, to keep coming back to ourselves, especially in these times when there's so many things to bring us outside of ourselves. It's about keep coming back to our centre, really. So yeah, that's the life force energy, working with their life force energy. And like I said, I'll guide you through something to support with that in a minute. And then the other thing about what we learn when we're training in energy healing that's useful for everyone is just this ability to feel beyond the five senses. Because we live in a world that is very, it's different now a little bit, isn't it? But it's very much dependent on logic and reason, what we can feel and what we can see, taste, touch, smell, that's what exists. And there's no space for the space, I suppose. What's between all of these things? What is there in the unseen that's influencing us all the time? But because we don't acknowledge it, it's like it's not there. But many of us know there is so much more. And and then, this is just ignored. And for many reasons, this can be hard, because if you are aware of what's going on in the energy fields and in the unseen, but it's not kind of verified, your feelings aren't then validated or verified. If you're a sensitive person, you might be aware of these really subtle changes around you, but you won't be able to give them a name, or you won't be able to kind of fully understand them unless we bring them. Obviously, they're still unseen, but into our awareness, into our conversations, and kind of validate them, I suppose. And that was the other thing I found a lot in the hospital. It was what I noticed was there was so much magic in those spaces, in those moments, like between what we could understand or what we could explain with logic and reasons and results. There was something else, and there was a magic in it, but it wasn't named and it wasn't recognised, and it was just often pushed to the side. And even in terms of actual space, that space between words, that space when there's no distractions and no noise or anything going on, we often find a lot in that actual space. But again, in the modern world, there isn't a lot of time for nothing, although it's not nothing, but everything's sort of filled and busy, and space is often not given enough recognition, the magic that we can find in space. So when we're learning energy healing, what we're doing is we're feeling. So we might use it with hands-on healing, and we might be just as we're placing our hands, even if we're just using healing for ourselves, really that's a time to slow down, and it's a time to just bring awareness to ourselves, what we're going on, what we're feeling, and then we can feel for subtle changes in the body. We can feel for subtle changes in the energy field. And it might be things that we haven't noticed before. And for everybody, it's different. And so when we're learning, we're feeling into like, what does that feel like for me? And, for some people, they might feel like heat, or some people might see colors, some people might have visions. And as we're using this, we're finding out what's our way of understanding and perceiving things. And it's going to be different for everybody. But the more we do it, the more we're kind of giving validity to these other things that we're sensing. And the more then they're becoming into our actual world. And then that expands our whole awareness. And it can help us help us see the world really differently, I suppose. And what we're doing often is we're seeing things from this expanded perspective. So as we're kind of connecting to our life force, and we're connecting to this channel almost, where we're connected really deeply to the earth, and we're connected to spirit and us at the center. And by doing so, we're then expanding our awareness, so we can see from the perspective of our higher self, which is really, I believe, it's through more the eyes of love. Not we're sort of, it's a co-creation, I think, but there's us here on the earth, and then we can see from this expanded perspective as well by tuning in and connecting more. And so it gives us this new way of seeing reality that's always been there and always is there, but it's just because we've shut off so much from intuition, I think, and put so much value on logic, that we're often missing a lot of things. And so we're by doing this and feeling and experiencing, we're connecting back to our intuition and that side of things. And obviously it's always going to be a mix of both, I think. Like, I'm really grateful for my experience as a nurse and my knowledge of the physical body, and also being able to use my intuition and feel into what's going on a deeper level. I don't think either there's no right or wrong. I think the magic comes when we use all of these things together. And I'm sure, like, whatever work or things that we do in our lives, like all the skills that we have are always going to be really valuable. And then bringing this new level of awareness to whatever we do, can be really supportive. I always think, the magic's definitely in if we can manage to bridge the physical and the spiritual, and what we see, in the physical world and what we see in the unseen, but bringing those together, because they've obviously become so disconnected in life in general. And often we do see, don't we? There's people who are very much in the physical world, people who are very much in the spiritual world, but where they meet, I think, is the place where we can find so much. So, intuition and reason, bringing them together. But through this experience, we're learning to connect more to our intuition. And it is a practice, definitely. And that's why when we're doing the training, we're practicing on ourselves every day. We're making space for ourselves, so that we can learn to listen to our intuition, and we can learn to trust in our intuition. Because I think a lot of people, most people actually, when they come to train with me, say they want to connect to their intuition, but then when they start talking, they're telling me all these things that they've heard or that they've thought or that they've felt, but that was just something silly, or that was just my imagination. But so often it's just about learning to trust it, and making space for it. And like I said before, we live in a society where there isn't much space often, and we're taught not to trust in our intuition. So often, all this is doing is just giving space, giving permission to trust, and committing regularly to listening to intuition. That's how you learn to trust it, I believe. And sometimes being in spaces where you can talk with others about what you're sensing and experiencing, can be nice, just to be able to speak about them, without worrying about anyone judging you. That can be really supportive as well, I find. And also, I encourage people to write things down as well, like the things that they're experiencing when they're giving a healing session, or when they're having their self-healing, or when they're just meditating or connecting, making that space just to connect back to themselves, and connect to their intuition. And sometimes, write it down, and then you begin to see the patterns, and like, I'm not just crazy, and I'm not just imagining things, and that is something, that's coming from within. And I think often when we learn to trust our intuition, we're learning to trust ourselves ultimately, and that's what it often comes back to. Because we're not taught how to listen or trust, we end up handing our power away to something outside of us, when we have actually got so much power within. So it's a journey often of coming back to yourself, and learning to trust in yourself. And someone who's naturally drawn to healing can often be, not always, often can be other focused. So the journey of the healer often is coming back to yourself again, and trusting in yourself and knowing your own power, and from that place there, and only then can you be in a place to support others. So it is, it's a journey. So connecting to our life force, feeling beyond the five senses, and then just having an awareness of energy as well. So I said about that with our circle of influence, and probably as well, like the intuition, you've probably had a lot of sense of change, subtle changes in the energy field, but again, without validating those things, you might not be aware of what you're experiencing. So those are the things that we learn in energy healing training that I feel are really supportive for anybody, and that's why I feel that this is valuable. These sort of tools and experiences are valuable for anyone, whatever you're doing, and how they can support mainly, yourself, but as a result, then support everybody around you, but obviously yourself first, because that's the key. And that, I believe, is kind of the way of the healer. And also, I think when I was in the hospital and I saw like everyone trying to take their power back and it being hard and often having to give their power away to the healthcare system, that's when I left and did my holistic work. But what I saw then in the holistic world is actually it's still the same. People might turn to holistic health, but they're often looking for the answer outside of themselves and forgetting the power that they have within them. And we can easily fall into this trap again of thinking that we have things wrong with us, we have these blocks, we've got to keep going for regular healing. And that can be a way of outsourcing our power again. So it doesn't mean the medical system's bad. We can make our own judgments on that. But, sometimes things like medicines can be really useful to us, doctors, nurses. There's so much wisdom within healthcare, and the same in the holistic healing world. There's so many amazing healers who have so much knowledge and that can really support us. But if we've got to the point where we're always continually turning outside ourselves for answers and forgetting what we have within, then we're just repeating the same patterns. So that's why I almost think rather than just having like those who have trained in the healing being the healers, we can all go on in this journey ourselves. And I always think that if we are reconnecting with our life force, if we're rekindling this light within us, then we're going to get more in touch with our intuition and our life force and our purpose here. And as we connect more with that, I kind of imagine us all lighting up all around the world, connecting with our different purposes and what we're here for, and really standing strong in that. And that being how we change the world. Like, we are powerful together. So I'm talking about coming back to ourselves. But if we all are going on this journey, we're able to connect with our soul purpose and why we're here and connecting to something bigger than us, then all together we're going to we're going to know what we do and how we work together. So yeah, that's part of the journey that I love of all this, is helping people connect back to their purpose and what they're here for, and connecting back to their own intuition and their own life force. So yeah, that is. I have just talked for 45 minutes. Sorry, but yeah, that's hopefully that's given you some things to think about in terms of how you are, a healer anyway, and how you are working with energy, and to suggest some ways that you can connect back to bringing this back into awareness and acknowledging it. So yeah, I'll talk through and a little guide you through the chakras now, and just talk about ways that we can block our life force, so they can be things that can support you as you move forward. But I think, I've mentioned a few things that might be helpful already. Just, being aware of where your energy is, trusting those little things that you get, like the intuitive nudges or the feelings, talking to more people, writing things down, being in these spaces more, and just, rekindling that trust for yourself, and just being in awareness of where your energy is and calling it back. And above all else, I think the most important things we can do right now is just coming back to ourselves again and again. So connecting to the earth, connecting to source, like this channel that we have within us, when there's so much going on in the world around us. It's almost like, I feel at the moment there's just so much noise of people telling you what to do, and it's so hard to switch off from things, people's opinions, and that can be really valuable and everything, but this is like notifications, social media, emails, everything, and so really coming back to ourselves and being able to trust in our own wisdom, I feel is even harder in this modern world. Just these practices of even just throughout the day, taking deep breaths and coming back to yourself. Sounds so simple, but actually that's about bringing our energy back to ourselves in all these different places where it might be throughout the course of the day. so let's just go through, because I realise we've only got a little bit left. But let me guide you through a way just to connect to the earth and spirit, come back to your centre, and I'll talk through each of the chakras that you can just feel into them. And so to kind of cover what I was saying about how within our body is the key to coming back to ourselves, and often the things that have thrown us off centre. So if you want to just you can just stay as you are, but just come back to a position, maybe just being aware of your connection to the earth, and breathing into your heart space again. And we're just going to connect, be aware of our connection to the earth and source, and be aware of this channel within us that is our connection to this kind of more expanded consciousness and coming back to ourselves. So just almost imagine from your heart traveling deep down into the earth. So traveling all the way down through your body and deep down into the earth. And just imagine this light of the earth that you're connecting with there, and allow that to come up all the way up through the earth, maybe imagining it coming up through the rocks and the mud and the water, and being aware of it coming up into our body. And I think this is one of the big ways we can get disconnected from our inner wisdom and from our power, and that we can come off centre, is because as a sort of culture, I suppose, we have become so disconnected from the earth. And this is one of our biggest allies, I suppose, this connection to the earth. It's our natural way of being. And like I said about the tree at the beginning, connected to the life force, imagine the tree with its roots going deep down into the earth, how grounded and supported it is. And so re-establishing our connection with the earth, the seasons and the cycles of life that perhaps we've become, maybe not personally, but generally we've become so disconnected from our natural way of being. It sounds so simple, but our life force is like I said, it's our natural state, our natural way of being. So remembering this connection to the earth, and just thinking about how much over the course of the day you felt this deep connection to the earth, and whether that's something you feel you need to cultivate more deeper. And then bringing that energy up from the earth, and imagine it coming into our root chakra, so at the base of our spine. And just thinking here about how grounded you feel as well. It's also about the earth element in our lives, but also about how safe we feel in our body. And I think this is one of the big things that disconnects us from our intuition and our life force and ourselves, is not feeling safe. And obviously this is a big issue, a big topic. But we can do simple practices to remind ourselves that we are safe. Like I said, coming back to yourself, placing your hands on your heart, connecting with your breath, bringing yourself back into your body. Because I think throughout the course of the day, I certainly find there's lots of things that, when I'm talking about social media, news, things like that, that can pull us into fear, that aren't actually even valid. Obviously, we might have things in our life that are valid fears, and times when we might not feel safe, but there's lots of things in the world that can disconnect us from our sense of safety, and therefore from our power and our intuition as well. So it's just also bringing awareness to those things, perhaps that are pulling us into fear, that aren't necessary, that we can maybe bring ourselves back from, cut down on, and have the tools to bring us back into our body. And this centre is also just really about our body and our connection to our body. And our body is our channel, of course. So the more we're caring and nurturing our physical body, the more we're able to keep developing this connection and this pure channel for our intuition and our life force to flow. And then you can bring your attention up to your sacral center, so in the middle of your abdomen, and just thinking about this. This can be, often I think of this as our body wisdom center, and often we can ask our body to speak to us through this center. So just feeling how connected we are with the wisdom within our body, whether we can allow our body to speak to us and tell us what it needs. And if that's difficult for you or something you haven't done before, or just a nice practice is just to sit like this with your hand and go into quiet meditation and just to start asking. And it won't speak at first maybe, but in time you can notice those feelings or thoughts that come to you, and just more deeply develop this connection. And it's also associated with the element of water and our emotions. And that's another part, I think, with our emotions, when I'm talking about energy, knowing whose energy is yours, whose energy is someone else's. I think when we learn to really work with and process our own emotions, we become more able to feel what's ours, and what is then. We kind of validate our own emotions and our feelings as well, and we become more conscious with these things. So yeah, that's what we can work with. So just have a feel of the things that we've covered so far. If there's anything that's spoken to you, anything that you feel you'd like to work on. And then we can bring our attention up to our solar plexus, our diaphragm. And this is, we can think of this in association with the element of fire and like transformation. Whether we're allowing transformation in our lives, whether we're feeling stuck, or whether we're like too much in the fire and flames of transformation, and we need to take a break. But also this can be related to our power, and how whether we do have lots of things that we are giving our power away to. Maybe some of the things I've spoken about so far you've related to. And whether some of the things I said at the beginning, whether we're giving our power away to things outside of ourselves, and whether we're able to take more of that back, to reconnect to ourselves. And also we can think about our connection to spirit, like whether we're taking too much on for ourselves as well, can be related to our power, and knowing that we have the support of spirit as well, and the support of those around us too. So it's all a balance, isn't it? And then coming to our heart, maybe you want to place your hands on your heart center. And our heart is our beautiful heart, like our sense of our ability to feel with our heart. And often we're we've grown to outsourcing that. And thinking lately about, using, the use of AI, and how, if we're choosing to use that, how we can use it consciously, and how our heart can often be our guidance system to what feels real for us and what feels true to us. And again, it's cultivating feeling, like we did at the beginning, cultivating that feeling, and we can feel that in our heart, and getting used to feeling things and sensing rather than having to kind of analyze or explain things. And when we're coming back to ourselves, and when we're working on life force, like we did at the beginning, just cultivating that feeling of love or joy or gratitude, and letting it expand into our body and our cells and our energy field. It can be a beautiful practice just to kind of relieve some of the stress of every day and the bombardment of everything around us. And that can just be a really powerful way to come back to ourselves every day. And then we'll move to our throat. And this can be related, to whether we're able to express the things that we're feeling, whether we feel we're holding back, whether we're able to speak what feels right to us, and also whether we're able to listen to others, and whether we're being kind of honest with ourselves. And this kind of relates to what I was saying about trusting ourselves as well. Whether we are being honest, and whether we're able to speak the things that we're feeling. And then, of course, our third eye is very much related to our intuition, and sort of seeing things from an expanded perspective, like I was talking about, not just with the physical eyes, but like, yeah, seeing things from this different, wider perspective, like I've been talking about. And in the Moon IQ, we work a lot with the opening up the third eye, but how important it is to also be connected to the heart at the same time, because I believe that we can all sort of develop these senses of like seeing things outside of the ordinary. But it's also about learning to use discernment. It's all a journey, isn't it? Especially when we're working with the unseen, how we know what to trust, how we know what's right and what's not, how we know what to share and what's not. And this is all part of the journey as well, that we take. And then finally, we can think about the crown of our head and our connection to source, and whether we're allowing this connection, whether we can see ourselves as part of something greater, and as well as being, ourselves, and so part of something greater and having this kind of divine support, I suppose. And now we can just imagine that light maybe coming down to the top of our head, just like the light of the earth did, and allowing that to come all the way down now, down our body and into our heart as well. And now we'll take a few more breaths, just moving this energy from the earth and from up above us from source, just allowing that to move down through all of these centers. And just seeing how you feel connected to both those centers, from below, deep down into the earth, and up to the light of the sun, source light above. And just feeling this kind of expanded support above and below you, and you being at the center with your heart at the center. And just breathing into this space for a moment. And then when you're ready, you can just come back and open your eyes. And if you want to write down anything that you felt in any of those centers, or anything that felt aligned to you, just write down anything that comes. And sometimes it's nice, we're in this space now, you can ask for any support with any of those things. If anything did come up for you, ask for support now, and just notice over the course of the week. Sometimes things come into awareness, or people experiences, if you've asked for support in an area, will just kind of magically appear. So that was a very whirlwind tour of working with the energy centers, and these are the things that we will be working with on the course that I'm starting in the autumn for energy healing. So it's like, learning energy healing, practicing, and having a space to share what we're experiencing as we're learning and as we're practicing, having a daily practice of coming back to yourself and tuning into your intuition. And then also every week we're working through one of those energy centers, just to find anything that's any way we can connect more deeply to our life force, so that we can be like this beautiful light that we're shining out into every interaction around us in whatever it is that we're doing. And so we're feeling strong in ourselves. And so not only can we help others, but then we can be like a beacon to ourselves as well. And in this world where there's so much static, and it's so easy to outsource our power, it's really about coming back to ourselves, and reconnecting to our own light, and who we are. So that's all the things I wanted to say. And if anyone has any questions or anything, you're welcome to get in touch. But I hope maybe you've had a few like little things to think about, or things that might be useful to take away from this hour together. And if anyone does want to take it further, then I'll send an email to all those who registered just telling you about the training that I'm offering in the autumn, which is this energy healing training with a focus on the way of the healer, all of our paths as the way of the healer, and coming back to yourselves and trusting in yourself and finding your inner light. So thank you so much for joining, and yeah, sending love. And thank you. And yeah, get in touch if you have any questions at all.